Can you hear me if I do this? So I have to be prayerful when I talk to you. Okay, my name is Andrea Brown, and I want to take you through a quick 10-minute journey of something I discovered, which I want to share with you. And it's something a concept of healing that you may not be aware of, and I call it a wellness intervention, okay? But before we can have an intervention, we've got to start with what happened. So as a matter of background, I want to tell you a little bit about how I sort of got here. Are you sure I can't have another mic? Because I am crippled. You can? Okay. All right, so here's what happened. I basically come from 25 years in the healthcare industry. So like a number of people in here, I have been surrounded my whole career with medicine and people working in healthcare. And when I work on the insurance and the administrative side of the healthcare industry, not the clinical side, and in the insurance industry, and we talk a lot about wellness. We don't spend a lot of money on wellness. We spend a lot of money on sickness. And it's almost as if the whole culture is we are really sick people with these episodes of wellness that happen, as opposed to being very well, healthy people that periodically get sick. And I think that's a real important distinction, and it goes along with what everybody else has said. But anyway, so here I am in my 25-year career doing great in healthcare administration. And I got caught up in the recession of 2007, 8, and 9, and ended up for the first time in my life being laid off and unemployed. And I've been working since I was 14. I didn't know what that was supposed to be like. Very type A type person. I didn't do real well unemployed. So suddenly I was in somewhat of a crisis. So what do you do when you're type A and for the first time in your life, you don't have anything to work yourself to death with? You have a midlife crisis. So I had a midlife crisis. You know, my husband was supposed to have the midlife crisis, but he didn't have one. And I was really disappointed. There was no red convertible, no motorcycle rides. So somebody had to do it. So I had a midlife crisis. And I decided, now I already knew what I wanted to do when I retired. Okay, but that was like 15 years from now. So that was planned for later. So I spent probably about 8 months trying to find another job, and then finally realized that God was telling me, we're moving up the plan. Okay, we're moving up the plan. You're never going to retire. And what you thought you were going to do 15 years from now, you're actually going to do now. So I went on an absolute tear, and I really mean it. I went on a tear. All of that energy, all of that being successful, feeling valued, had to go somewhere. I went on a tear. I started Monday Best Coaching and Consulting, which was my dream life's work that I was going to do when I retired, to work with people coming back into society from ex-offenders, women that are coming off welfare, trying to get back into the workforce, and basically dealing with the mental piece of that, as opposed to the tactical piece, where the resume and all of that. You know, how you think, you know, is what Kara said, about you build from your beliefs out. So that's the work that I started. I also started doing healthcare consulting. But I went after it like an absolute maniac. And the energy that I poured into this sort of reboot of my life is what, on a physics level, we would call catabolic, and very, very destructive in a lot of ways. So I worked, 40 hours a day, building these two businesses. And those of you that are small business owners, you know it doesn't happen overnight. Success comes slowly. But when you've been in the corporate world and you're used to getting annual evaluations and you're used to getting a paycheck, yeah, what about that, right? You're used to getting a paycheck every 2 weeks. You have automatic feedback that you are good and you're valued and it's all working. And you don't have that when you start your own business. So I tore into making myself feel better. And part of what I did, in addition to working 40 hours a day, was I decided, okay, I'm going to do a total physical reboot. Okay, I am going to become a competitive distance runner. just like that, at 50. Just like that, at 50. You know, I'd never run further than 7-Eleven to get some Twinkies and a Coke. But I was going to be a distance runner, trail runner. You know, I'm going to be really elite, you know, and we're going to run through the mountains and stuff like Xena Warrior Princess, right? So, yeah, I was going to be successful at something. So I started training 7 days a week. I got a track coach at 50 years old. Come to find out, next thing I knew, I was winning races in my age group and, you know, and all of that. And it was all coming together because I was on a tear. And then it all started coming apart because I was on a tear. I could not sleep. I was tired all the time. My acid reflux was off the chart. I had headaches. I was depressed. And on some level, I knew, even though I was from healthcare, you know, they got drugs for all of that, right? I knew that that's not what I was supposed to do. That was not going to be the answer this time. I was in a total life reboot, you know. That was not going to be the answer. And so I went searching for another way. And I remember talking to a friend of mine who was seeing a chiropractor. And all I thought, chiropractic, you know, twist your head this way, and it sure sounds awful, but I hope it works. But it was more than that, and I realized that what I really needed was somebody that would look at me where I was, not just where I hurt, and come up with some solutions to make it better. So I went to Anatomy Power Wellness Studio and had what I believe was a wellness intervention. And actually I went to Leslie practically crawling on my knees, in pain, you know, tired, exhausted, and just really, really whipped and said, I need a wellness intervention. And what I encountered was a full life body approach to getting me back on track. I was headed in the right direction. I didn't need to tear, okay? There was plenty of time for me to be everything I wanted to be and to create all that I wanted to create. But we did chiropractic. We did nutritional counseling. We got my sleep issues resolved. We got my relaxation response rebooted. And I was able to actually settle into this new direction without this terror and fear that I was going to fail. So my message to you is, if you are about to have a midlife crisis, and I had one of the best ones ever, you know, I'm still having it, you know, go forward in it, but don't leave your body in a ditch on the way, which is kind of what I did. I was really like up on blocks by the time I got to my wellness intervention. You don't want to be that rusty car in the front yard with grass growing out, the engine up on blocks. You want to move forward with some balance, and you want to move forward with that vision of perfection in your life. That means that you don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer anymore to have what you want. It'll actually come without you having to go on a tear. And you can rediscover what it means, you know, to be balanced and to be purposeful. And I have bosoms too. And to have, oh, yes, see, passion. Have some passion. Because I crashed a prayer group this morning. They were handing out these little things. And I crashed a prayer circle and got me one. So do move forward and be purposeful. Okay? Thank you.